Charges have been dropped against PPC leader Maxime Bernier in connection with a protest he was involved in back in 2021. Bernier attended a protest against Ontario's stay-at-home order in Niagara Falls. There was a crowd of around 500 people who gathered to hear various speakers, including Bernier. Chris Fleury is a lawyer with Charter Advocates Canada, which is funded by the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms. He represented Mr. Bernier in this case and joins us now from Belleville, Ontario. Chris, what were the original charges against PPC leader Maxime Bernier?
One was under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. He was charged with breaching the stay-at-home order, and many Ontarians like to forget this period of history, but there was a period where for about 8 weeks, every resident of Ontario had to remain in their residence unless they could justify leaving under one of 29 enumerated grounds within that piece of legislation. So, for example, going to the grocery store or walking your dog was acceptable, exercising outside. But unfortunately, attending a peaceful gathering outside, attending a peaceful protest was not permitted. So he breached that particular regulation, was the allegation. And he also breached another regulation which imposed gathering limits outside. That was under the Reopening Ontario Act. I can't help but note that the practical effect of the Reopening Ontario Act was actually to close most of Ontario for a period of about 2 years.
So what reasons did the Crown give for withdrawing the charges?
They withdrew the charges after Mr. Bernier made a charitable donation within the Niagara region. This is a method of proceeding that's commonly called diversion, where a person agrees to undertake certain activities before a charge is withdrawn.
So what will this mean really moving forward for other Canadians who participated and were charged at rallies protesting government mandates during the pandemic?
What Ontarians and Canadians should really look to is Mr. Randy Hillier actually has an appeal case coming up where he did challenge these pieces of legislation in the Ontario Superior Court, and specifically the stay-at-home order. That was challenged back in 2023, and he's appealing the ruling. So he lost the ruling back in 2023, and he's before the Ontario Court of Appeal, in September. And that is something that Canadians are going to watch in terms of deciding the constitutionality of the stay-at-home order and really setting a precedent with regards to attending a peaceful protest in Canada and the government's ability to restrict that.
Thanks so much, Chris. That was Chris Fleury, a lawyer who represented PPC leader Maxime Bernier in his fight against fines received during Ontario's stay-at-home order back in 2021.